Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this in one go, so if I stumble over my words going forwards, I apologise in advance. I should also apologise in advance if the quality of this video isn't too good, if there's any lag later on. Sadly, it cannot be helped, and hopefully it's not too much of an issue for you. Today is yet another Eurovision Song Contest related video. I've been filming quite a few of these over the past couple of weeks, and I suppose we're at that time of year, we're at that time of decade where there are so many things you can talk about with regards to Eurovision. Best and worst songs of the past 10 years, best and weakest performances of the past 10 years, most overrated songs, most underrated songs. That's a video that I hope to film before the year and decade is out. But today I am filming a video where I talk about the best songs not to even qualify for any grand final from 2010 in Oslo to 2019 this year in Tel Aviv. As always, feel free to let me know your thoughts. I'm genuinely interested. Those of you who've commented excuse me, on previous videos of mine over the past month or so, I really do appreciate it. I'm genuinely interested to hear your thoughts on anything Eurovision related, and particularly with this one as well. So, I have some information in front of me. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible here. I'm judging mainly the song, but also some other elements as well, such as the overall aesthetic, how it was executed on stage, all of that business. So, going back to 2010, and really, there's only two songs, perhaps, that I feel were really unlucky to miss out on qualifying. One is Slovakia from semi-final 1, massive fan favourite, even today. Horeroni by Christina. Can't believe that didn't qualify, in all honesty. I think the backing vocalist butchered things a little bit, but there was this whole sort of forestry thing going on stage. Christina sang quite well, very beautiful woman. They finished 16th with 24 points. Second from last. That's really, really low for a song that is really, really loved by most Eurovision fans. Taking a look at the split results, not that it really matters, but Slovakia, yeah, just nowhere with either the juries or the public. But the song I'm going to talk about here is a song I've spoken about many, many times on my channel. It's Sweden, Anna Bergendahl, This Is My Life, my favourite Eurovision song to date in all of the contests we've ever had so far. 11th place, 62 points, just pipped to the post by Cyprus and Ireland, who had 67 points each. There's no doubt about it in my mind, if Sweden had qualified, Anna would have done better in the results than John Lilly-Green in the Islanders, representing Cyprus, and Niamh Kavanagh for Ireland, because both of those entries finished in the bottom 5. Sweden would not have finished in the bottom 5 had Anna Bergendahl qualified. She was wearing a sort of champagne-coloured dress, trainers, everybody in the audience had glow sticks. It was a very touching, sweet, charming performance, and it's worth saying that this is the only time since the semi-final format was introduced that Sweden have failed to qualify for the final. It would be unheard of if to happen again. It would just be the most surprising thing, because Sweden usually finish in the top 5. It's, you know, unheard of for them not to qualify these days. And I think this was the only final, I think this is the only final Sweden have missed since the 1970s. Something like that. It's an extraordinary anomaly in Sweden's Eurovision history. But anyway, didn't qualify, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. I was in here all those years ago. The final qualifier was set to be announced. Denmark hadn't qualified. Sweden hadn't qualified. I knew Denmark were going to go through. I was resigned to the fact that Anna was going to miss out, and she did. Couldn't believe it then, still can't believe it now, really disappointing. I suppose you could say Lithuania maybe deserved to be in the final. That was a very jokey entry, but it was very well performed in my opinion for what it was. And you could also say Finland from semi-final 1. But for me, if I had to pick one song from 2010, the best song not to qualify, and yes, it is a personal favourite, but I would say this was the best song not to qualify from 2010, even if I wasn't a fan of this song, I really would. Sweden, This Is My Life, Anna Bergendahl. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on to 2011, and this is already a very, very poor rambling video. I do apologise for that. 2011. Well. From semi-final 1, even though this song was absolutely nowhere in the results, you'd have to say Norway, perhaps, from the first semi-final in 2011. This was Stella and Wanji with Habba Habba, performed in English and Swahili, for some reason. I didn't mind the fact that it was partially in Swahili at all. It was a breath of fresh air. It was a very colourful, fun performance, decent vocals, good energy, and it completely flopped. There's no other way to describe it. This was expected to qualify and came absolutely nowhere. 17th, 30 points. I've just pressed the wrong button. Let me take a look at that again. Norway, yeah. Would have been a qualifier with 100% televoting. It was the juries that killed Stella's chances of going through. Should it have gone through? Maybe, but who would have missed out instead? Switzerland? I think Switzerland deserved to go through, absolutely. Lithuania finished 5th in semi-final 1, and Norway finished 17th. Ooh, not too sure about that. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. From semi-final 2, there was 1 point in it. There was 1 point in it in semi-final 1 as well, between 3 countries. And the right one went through, in my opinion. And then from semi-final 2, I think the right one went through as well. A lot of people would say Bulgaria. Polygenova's first bite of the Eurovision cherry. This was Na Inat, finished 12th with 48 points. A lot of people really love this one, even to this day. Very solid performance. There was a sort of rainfall, watery effect on the LED screen, and she was walking down the catwalk at one point. Yeah, solid performance. Slovakia was pretty strong as well. Very cheesy. That was I'm Still Alive by Twins. Arguably, Bulgaria are a lot stronger. I think a lot of Eurovision fans would say that. And you could also argue Latvia with Angel in Disguise by Music, Musiqq, still making music today, as a matter of fact. 17th place for them, male duo, quite a cool, contemporary, slick number. One of them was sitting on a chair for most of the performance. Yeah, definitely Bulgaria, Slovakia and Latvia. I'm not including Belgium, who just missed the cut, because I don't think that really is one of the strongest songs not to qualify over the past 10 years. So if I had to pick one, being as neutral as possible, I probably would say Bulgaria from 2011. But I really like Latvia's song, always have. Slovakia is a very good song as well, even though it's really cheesy. And Norway. Let me know your thoughts. Moving on to 2012. And this was the competition in Baku in Azerbaijan, looking at semi-final 1. Switzerland, Finland, that Finnish entry I really loved more and more well after the competition had been and gone in Baku. That was Pernir Karlsson with När jag blundar, performed in Swedish for Finland. This was 12th with 41 points. Really beautiful performance. Man playing the cello, was it not? Really, really lovely stuff. Just so pleasant to listen to. Lovely, lovely. The studio version is very good as well. Switzerland, that was a more rock song. More of a rock song. Unbreakable by Sin Plus, two guys. Very strong accents. You couldn't always understand what they were singing. But anyway, 45 points, 11th place, just missing out. Hungary went through. Honestly, Switzerland or Finland should have gone through ahead of Hungary. Just my opinion. Moving on to semi-final 2. Well, Bulgaria missed out on the sort of tiebreaker rule. But I've always preferred Norway's entry. Slovenia. Verjamen by Eva Botto. I think she was 16 or 17 at the time. Fantastic singer. She had a group of female backing singers with her. This was a Balkan ballad. It was really strong, and I can't believe it did so badly. 17th place, 31 points in that second semi-final. And yeah, in fact, it was very close, but the public had this lower down than the jurors, who really should have appreciated it a lot more. Dear oh dear, I am stumbling over my words. Yeah, if I had to pick one from 2012, Finland or Slovenia, the two strongest songs not to make the final. That Slovenian entry was criminally underrated. And then Finland, that would have just been really nice to have in the final, sandwiched between two really upbeat, flashy numbers. It would have broken things up a bit, and it would have stood out as a result, I'm sure. Let me know your thoughts on that. Maybe I'm forgetting some songs here that you absolutely believe should have been in the final. Moving on to 2013. Let's take a look here. This was the Malmö competition, and semi-final 1. A lot of people would say Montenegro, but that was a very, very striking performance that would have really stood out in the grand final. So, yeah, you could say Montenegro. Personally, from semi-final 1, I'd say Austria. Natalia Kelly, I believe she was born in America, probably early 20s, if that, back in 2013. The song was called Shine. It was the first song of the first semi-final that year. 14th place, 27 points, really underrated. Would have qualified comfortably had it been 100% jury vote, but the public put this 15th out of 16 nations, which I just don't get. It was a very plain performance. I think that was the issue. As for semi-final 2, you've got to say San Marino. Definitely their best entry not to qualify. This was Chrysalide Vola, performed in Italian by that woman, Valentina Monetta. This was her second Eurovision entry in a row. So much stronger than her entry in Azerbaijan, which was about Facebook, essentially. But this song, 11th, 47 points, just missing out. We all know the song, if you're a Eurovision fan, of course. Started off slowly and then turned into this pulsating pop song. Really good stuff. She was wearing a sort of crimson-coloured outfit. Definitely a pretty strong entry overall. That's about it. None of the others I really think genuinely deserve to qualify. A lot of people would say Israel, but personally I just think that's a rather average bout. Just my opinion there. I'm going to go with San Marino. Yeah. Armenia went through. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that song, but San Marino's better, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on to 2014. I really should be making a note of these, but anyway. 2014, Copenhagen, that was. Very short semi-finals, you know, not many songs involved as we've had in other years. From semi-final 1, well, a lot of people really love Portugal. Quero Ser Tua by Susie. Missed out by a point. San Marino went through instead with Valentina's Maybe, which was a weaker song than the one that I just mentioned a minute ago. Yeah, Portugal was very strong, very fun, but would it have really done that well in the final? I don't know. Estonia was pretty good, and there was a lot of choreography. There was more emphasis on that than the actual vocals and everything else that was happening on stage, really. As for semi-final 2, you've got to mention Ireland and Israel. Two of the biggest surprises for me from the past 10 years. Ireland, I felt sure were going to go through, but the performance was really static. There wasn't enough movement from Casey Smith. She performed this with Can Lin. The song was called Heartbeat. Beautiful in terms of the visuals. It finished 12th with 35 points. A little bit of river dance going on, why not? But yeah, it was a little bit shaky vocally, and there needed to be a lot more movement from Casey on that stage. And then Israel, I just don't really understand how this didn't qualify. May Feingold with Same Heart, 14th out of 15 countries, 19 points. Utterly ridiculous in my opinion. This was so striking, so many flashing lights. The crowd absolutely went bonkers for it. And it was absolutely nowhere near going through. I mean, she had a very deep voice, but I don't really understand to this day why this song performed so badly in the results. Taking a look at the split results, Israel did slightly better with the juries in terms of points, but slightly better with the public in terms of position, and Ireland would have qualified just if it had been 100% televoting. I just don't get it. Ireland messed up the staging a bit. Israel, I don't really know. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe there is a blatant reason why Israel didn't qualify and I just haven't mentioned it. Yeah, it's got to be Ireland, Israel, maybe Portugal, maybe Estonia. I'm going to go with Israel though, because I really thought that song would qualify with ease. When you consider that Israel received 19 points, Belarus received 87. What's that all about? Moving on to 2015. Oh dear, what a rambling video this is. 2015 in Vienna, semi-final 1. I would mention the Netherlands, but that's a personal favourite, and to be honest, the performance could have been a lot better. So I'll leave it for now. I thought Belarus was good. Semi-final 2, Malta, yes, won the national final by an absolutely crushing margin, and then didn't even qualify for the final. That was Warrior by Amber, one of 2 songs called Warrior that year, the other one from Georgia. Could mention Iceland, but again, the performance was a little on the weak side. Could mention Czech Republic, even though I'm not a huge fan of that song. Deserved to do a little bit better than 33 points. But the one I'm going to mention here, Ireland. What an underrated song. I'll mention this again in my next video where I talk about most underrated entries of the past 10 years. This was Molly Sterling. She was sitting behind the piano. There was this sort of forest landscape on the LED screen. It was really beautiful and really simple, and it was on early. I think that was an issue. Playing with Numbers, the name of the song. I didn't like this for a long time. Not really, couldn't get into it. And then after the competition, I listened to it more and more, really started liking the performance, and now it's one of my favourites from the 2015 competition. 12th with 35 points. From the split results, Ireland would have qualified relatively comfortably in 7th place if 100% jury vote. The public, 16th out of 17 with 14 points. That doesn't surprise me. The public probably found this far too dull. Outrageous, really good song. I'm going to go with Ireland as the best song not to qualify in 2015. It's a really good song. And Molly hasn't really released a huge amount of music since, but she had a song called Ghost in My Bedroom, which was really good. Worth looking that up if it's still on YouTube. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but moving on to 2016, very, very strong competition. From semi-final 1, you have to mention Iceland, probably Estonia too. Estonia finished last overall in 2016. This was Play by Jüri Potsman, 18th with 24 points. The performance just wasn't quite working. It was a little bit creepy, the way he was looking at the camera. That playing card trick didn't quite come off. It was one of those songs that's really hard to stage well because it's not super upbeat and it's not super slow. It's in the middle. We had it with Belgium last year in Lisbon, which I'll mention in a minute. We had it with Jüri Potsman back in 2016 for Estonia. And then Iceland, well, I can't believe this didn't go through. Can't believe this didn't go through. Iceland, Hear Them Calling, Greta Salome back after her duet in 2012, which also really struggled in the final. But at least it made the final. This was really good. She was in a black outfit. She had this screen behind her that she was interacting with at certain points. This whole thing with birds. You'll know what I'm on about. Anyway, Hear Them Calling, 14th place, 51 points, tied with Finland. And below Montenegro and San Marino, which I just don't get at all, even to this day. This was the first year with a new voting system. Taking a look at the split results, Iceland just absolutely nowhere. 13th with the public and with the juries. Don't get it. Anyway, moving on to semi-final 2. Macedonia was pretty solid, but I don't think it would have done well in the final. Slovenia really liked that song, but is it really one of the best songs this decade not to qualify? Don't know about that. Norway, on the other hand, lots of people really liked that, but a lot of people also found it very jarring, sort of 2 songs in one, 2 different melodies that didn't quite click together. But I really liked it. One of my favourites from 2016, although I have gone off it in the years since. I think you've got to go with Iceland from 2016. That is a contender for the best song and perhaps best performance as well, if we're judging everything, not to qualify for the grand final over the past 10 years. Let me know your thoughts on that. Moving on to 2017, this was in Kiev. Oh dear, it's a long video, ladies and gentlemen. 2017, semi-final 1, got to go with Finland. Norma John with Blackbird, haunting, melancholic, sad, very slow-paced. Yeah, not much else to say about it, but it was so beautifully done. Piano, guy, woman doing the lead vocals, sort of a watery theme on the LED screen, which was blue and then turned red in the final chorus. It built up quite nicely for a ballad, and the type of song that it was, you know. 12th place, 92 points, fantastic. I think this is in my personal top 10 from 2017. A lot of people were really getting behind it, and a lot of people thought it was an absolute definite qualifier, but no. Finland 92, Cyprus 164. I mean, what is that all about? And to be honest, yeah, Finland, a very, very strong song that probably should have qualified. And then from semi-final 2, you could mention Switzerland, although the staging I've never been such a fan of. It was too, not sweet, but it was, I didn't like the colour scheme that they went for, this pink and yellow colour scheme. They were going for some sort of fairy tale look. Didn't quite like it, but the song's really good. Ireland had the hot air balloon, and I just thought that was a fairly weak performance. I thought Estonia, Verona, I thought that was quite weak live as well. I know her microphone failed for the first couple of seconds, but even so, I just thought it was very bland overall, even though the song's not that bad. You could mention Macedonia, even though there could have been a bit more going on stage. Really, for me, Finland. But let me know your thoughts. Moving on to 2018. This was last year, feels like a lot longer. From semi-final 1, gotta mention Belgium, my personal winner, but I do think this was one of the strongest songs not to qualify last year. 12th place, 91 points. It was the public who killed Senek's chances. It was very cinematic, and they were really trying to do something unique, but it didn't quite work. She was wearing a sort of partially see-through dress, which didn't look that brilliant, but anyway, that doesn't really matter. She was on the catwalk. She should have been on the main stage. It wasn't the most vibrant, eye-catching performance, but I thought it was a really terrific song. The music video, the studio version, on the money. But on that Eurovision stage, it just fell a bit flat. But still really good. You could say Azerbaijan, who finished one place higher in 11th. Switzerland, that performance was really good. Zips with Stones, 13th place, 86 points. I thought that was really, really good. That probably should have been in the final, and I think it was the public again who killed their chances. Some people would say Greece, and to be honest, that's a pretty good song and a pretty good performance too, but there were better, and that's probably why Greece didn't really push too hard to finish in that top 10 from the first semi-final last year. But anyway, for me, I would say Belgium and Switzerland, not so much Azerbaijan. Yeah. Belgium 91, Austria 231. That's a massive, massive difference. A lot of people would say Austria's better, and to be honest, yeah, in terms of overall, yes, Austria was probably stronger, but that's a massive points difference right there, which I just don't really understand. Moving on to semi-final 2, I thought Malta was pretty good, but the public put Christabel last, I think. It was the juries who loved Taboo, but it wasn't enough. 13th, 101 points. Yeah, really, Belgium and Switzerland for me. Again, let me know what you think about that. And then 2019, this year, the best songs not to qualify. From semi-final 1, Hungary for me. Yotsi Papai with Azanapam. 12th place, 97 points. This was beautiful. He was sitting down at the start. I think he was all in black. Sort of like a golden colour scheme. People's faces on the backdrop. I just thought it was really, really beautiful. Beautiful. Absolutely wonderful. And Hungarian as well. Beautiful language. Just thought it was really, really nicely done. I actually prefer that entry from Origo, which I also really like, but I preferred this one over Origo, which was his previous Eurovision entry in 2017. A lot of people would say Portugal, that was very dramatic and theatrical and really trying to be stand out and unique. Didn't quite work. I like the song a lot more than I did. As for semi-final 2, Romania perhaps. Watched that performance back just a couple of weeks ago. That was pretty solid stuff. But yeah, for me, Hungary. Poland, very good, missed out by just a couple of points. Poland or Belarus, which one would you have rather had in the final? Of course we had Belarus, but would you have preferred Poland? Let me know your thoughts on anything that I've mentioned in this video. I think that's it. It's been one massive ramble. There's a shock. I've already forgotten some of the nations I mentioned here. Great stuff. I think Finland 2017, Sweden 2010, Slovenia 2012 maybe, Belgium and Switzerland last year, Hungary this year. That should have gone through. Hungary had 97. San Marino had 150. That probably should have been the other way around. But anyway, there we go. A massive ramble. My thoughts on the best songs not to qualify for any grand final over the past 10 years? And it's a really interesting question that I haven't seen anybody else really discuss online over the past couple of weeks, past couple of months. Let me know your thoughts. What is the best song overall not to make the grand final over the past 10 years? The unluckiest entry, if you prefer. Let me know, and I'll be back probably after Christmas now with my potentially final video of the year. I'm also keeping an eye, on a complete side note, on Albania, because the second semi-final of their national final for next year's competition I think is about to come to an end, and we're about to find out the qualifiers. That'll be interesting. Of course, we will know our first entry for Eurovision 2020 by Christmas. In fact, in just a couple of days, Albania will be picking their entry. And yes, I'll be making more videos, obviously, going into 2020 as well. Hopefully the quality will improve at some point. Fingers crossed. Unfortunately, it's not great at the moment, but it's the best I can do. I'm really, really rambling now. I've got to shut up. Is there anything else I need to say? I don't think so. If you celebrate Christmas, then I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and have a wonderful time surrounded by friends and family. If you don't celebrate Christmas, that's okay too. Hopefully you will be around people you love regardless. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. New Year's resolution, shut up more. Stop waffling. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.